na kailangan na nilang uh, i-prioritize din ngayon. Kasi it's not really just about owning the early game kasi. It's about how you finish the overall game. Kaya nga naman, that's how you basically garner your points, right? But you know what, brothers? Pumunta na tayo agad sa ating drafting phase between Smart Omega sa ating blue side and of course Happy Feet Emperors sa ating red. Starting it off with a Jawhead and Yudong Ban.
Yes. And guys, para sa mga bagong nanonood dyan, ito po yung tinatawag nating drafting stage of the game. Kumbaga, pipili ka ng heroes na gusto mo at yung mga heroes na ayaw mong kalaban. And we have a 10-ban setup para dito sa the Nationals. Now, looking at it, Jawhead ang binan dito na Smart Omega and Ling. Well, for the Happy Feet Emperors, they don't want the Yuzhong. Probably because yung next in line na nila for carry is going to be the Yushin. Who knows? Brody din tinanggal nila. Itong Brody na to napakasakit sa ulo ng kalaban nito.
Yeah, syempre you don't really want to give away talaga yung mga potential heroes na pwede talagang maging threat para sa strategies na pwedeng planuhin ng ating mga teams dito. And of course, let's see kung sino nga ba ang ibaban dito ni HGC. But still, we are going to head on to a more fundamental ban and pick din dito. Kasi you might as well want to remove away as much as crowd control as concerned. And of course, one of them is Barrett's here, tatanggalin ng Smart Omega as their third ban.
Okay, so Barrett is one of those, sabihin natin, heavy hitters of this certain meta. Na nung una, hindi naging maganda yung setup niya for the other tournaments. Medyo yung Barrett's mababa yung win rate niya. Pero when teams adapted to the playstyle na ginagawa ni Barrett's, which is the slow but steady sieges, yung mga push na ginagawa nila, it made all the sense in the world. So now, teams know how to utilize the Barrett's more and thus, gaining Barrett's a slot dito sa may banning stage natin.
Okay, so of course, for the third and final ban for Happy Feet Emperors, they will be negating out yung ating Farsa dito that can be used both as a mage or support na talaga namang nakate in terms of applying crowd control dito, especially in team fights na in tight places or sa mga sisikip na ating lugar na ating mapa. No? So this is a good ban for the side of Happy Feet Emperors here kasi we know that Smart Omega are utilizing Farsa in a good old-fashioned way. So for our pickings, we are seeing the Selena pick here as the first for Smart Omega. It's really nice because they know, I think that this is more of a good pick for them because we've already seen how it is being used with Selena right to the side of Happy Feet Emperors. I think they're going on a more sturdier side base by having that bounce and that Hadi here as their first.
Yeah, Happy Feet Emperors dito, ang ginagawa nila dito, Seiya, is they're trying to set up nga yung side lanes. And during the changes kasi yung side lanes, yung XP lane at yung gold lane, parang kapag ka mas matibay yung sandigan or yung foundation mo doon sa mga lanes na yon, parang mas nagiging madali yung transition. Or kung hindi man naging maganda yung mid lane carry mo, as long as yung dalawa maganda yung pinakita, it's going to be fine kasi meron kang pangbawi. Now, hindi pa natin alam kung Khalid side lane ba to o Khalid tank to because it could go both ways. But I do agree with you, mas normal natin nakikita ang Khalid tanks. Ay, Khalid side lanes pala, hindi tanks. Khalid side lanes.
And of course, this also is like a fortified place para sa ating Happy Emperor. Syempre, you don't really want to give that pushing objectives away from Smart Omega. So this was a nice pick for them. But for Smart Omega naman dito, gagamitin nila one of the classics here, which is the Kufra and of course the Lancelot.
Yes, and now it makes sense, Pachi, kung Pachi tuloy, Seiya, nasanay na ako eh. Now, it makes all the sense in the world kung bakit tinanggal ni Happy Feet Emperors etong si Yuzhong. Kapag-usapan natin to kanina na why you ban out the Yuzhong was because Ling got banned and what happens there. Ang next in line mo na, ang sinasuggest mo na sa kalaban, mag-Yison Shin kami and they went straight for the Yison Shin. Now, yung Lancelot dun sa kapila, it's actually anticipated na nila dito sa Happy Feet, sa Smart Omega na mag-Yison Shin to. So, ang gawin natin, kuha tayo nung mabilis at maganda mag-invade. So what they did, they went straight for the Lancelot. Bans naman dito, looking at it, Esmeralda, Baksha, Valier, Smart Omega, last ban, ano yung kukunin nyo dito? Ano yung tatanggalin nyo dito on the side of Happy Feet Emperors?
Both of the teams have here, more on Smart Omega, meron na sila dito pang low, which is new mag slot. So I think, okay, they will be banning out the Lunox here, which is a nice pick since they are negating out more options para sa ating mage side dito para sa si Happy Feet Empress. But you know what? They still have an Alice up on their sleeves, which can be used for a more semi-tank mage kind of gameplay dito. Pero depende kung paano nga nila ilaline up yung sarili nila dito sa ating mapa. But of course, this is actually a nice ban coming in from Smart Omega kasi whenever we do not see the Forza here, usually siya yung nagiging situational pick dito minsan eh. And of course, that being negated out, it kind of narrows down and this kind of at least forces Happy Feet Empress to choose outside the box or outside of their with the usual ones that they usually see.
Yeah, I agree. Saya, now, alam mo yung ginawa dito na Smart Omega, medyo tumutok sila dun sa Valor tsaka Lunox ban, di ba? Kapapasin mo na din sa kabila, meron kasi silang Selena sa Smart Omega. So what they did is they went for the Khalid and the Angela. So, ibig sabihin, isa lang ibig sabihin netong dalawang hero na to eh. Force engage. Pwersahin lagi ng Happy Feet Emperors na lumaban ng Smart Omega sa mga oras na ayaw nila lumaban. Itatandaan natin ano nga ba yung oras na ayaw lumaban ng Smart Omega pagka walang tinatamaan yung pana ng Selena. So, kapag ka mabibigla mo ang Smart Omega dito, they have less initiation capability, counter initiation capability. Yung Kufra lang yung kailangan nila bantayan. So, for Happy Feet Emperors, if they force out the fights early at pabor sa kanila yung timing and yung tempo, that is going to be great for them. Now, Pachi, pag dito naman sa kabila Smart Omega, nakuha nila yung pacing nila at mag-turtle dito yung Happy Feet Emperors, that is going to be good on their side. So, it's about waiting for the right time for Smart Omega and forcing a lot of fights early on para dito sa Happy Feet Emperors.
Yes, but they have to force the fights with caution then around because you have to take note that the Lancelot is here. Now, okay, sige, fine. The Selena might not be able to get the arrow hits, but the Lancelot can go for the back fight or the backdoor potential. So they have to do it in also a timely manner wherein papwersahin nila yung laban but at the same time to their convenience.
Yes, and we will head on to the game in just a bit. Now, clearly, nakita na natin yung mga win requirements na itong mga teams na to. And you know what? Kahit sabihin natin early on, kailangan kumuha ng pacing o kailangan kumuha agad ng tempo o ng domination dito para sa side ng HFE. Meron naman silang late game prowess din. Remember, Alice is still great at late game. Jason Shin is great at that as well. So, kumbaga, you have to look at how the teams will actually set up. And ito yung isa sa mga binabantayan ko dito. If the Kufra gets a bit of a momentum, kumbaga nagpatuloy at nag-init yung Kufra dito sa pagpatalon-talon niya kung kani-kanino, that could really cost HFE a lot of the time na kailangan nila para mag-set up ng dominating, alam mo yon, ng tempo on their side sa early game pa lang. So they really have to look out for that. And we will head on to the game right now. This is going to be SMO versus HFE game number 1. Pachi.
All right. So again, this game is monitored and supervised by E-Games and Amusements Board, guys. So again, this is going to be their lineup right here. Toshi's going to be on the sidelines here. Hajizi and Yeli Hayes onto the middle. And of course, Kenji doon sa ating baba. And alongside with him is Aldon there. Tamang folks lang. And of course, to Reggie dito, trying to at least give some vision or some information naman dito sa ating gitna. At least, for now, nothing much to say since both of our teams are still scaling for some resources up for grabs.
And as you can see right now, Heath is not playing. Hindi naglalaro si Heath dito, and Mr. Fundamentals is, this is somewhat of a big change for the side of Smart Omega, ha? Kasi for the longest time, yung tank talaga nila is Heath. But right now, Hayes stepping up to the plate. And this is going to be a fight. Well, Hayes, ladies and gentlemen, nahuli siya dito, and there's the jump. Angela here getting the first blood. Toshi dito could be the next target. But it won't be the problem kasi makakadikit na siya dito sa kanyang tower. Although nandun pa rin naman si Khalid to bring a bit of pressure para dito, para kay Toshi. But si Reggie dito, hindi niya talaga tatantanan at hindi talaga nila bibigyan ng space ng kahit ano dito yung Smart Omega carry onto the top lane.
Okay, but I like it how they are as early as our first minutes of the game. Talagang nag-rotate sila agad. But this is, they have to be very careful in terms of rotating. Kasi nakita mo naman kanina, had GZ already left a half health for that Angela. So if that Angela is left alone dito sa ating jungle areas, that could be a potential pick-off for Lancelot. But again, going back here dito sa ating bottom side, they might commit for the tower dive right here. And of course, Ririn will be having the kills and Lina will be following through. But both of them with low on HP, Lancelot decides to go and sacrifice himself para nga naman maligtas si Reyes avoiding any more casualties.
Yeah, and nakikita mo naman doon kung yung self-sacrifice. And Kenji dito pwede siya mahuli pero hindi tumingin si Aldrin doon. Reggie going in with a slash pero masyado ng late yun. Now, maganda yung ginagawa dito ng Happy Feet Emperors. They have an answer sa lahat ng ginagawa ng Smart Omega.
Yeah. But the thing is, again, they have to do it with utmost caution. Kasi early game potential, Smart Omega still has it. Kailangan lang natin tatandaan na kapag tinatamaan ni Curtis yung mga pana niya dito, let's say, onto the jungle area, nakita natin kasi nag-roam around si Angela. If ever natamaan siya ng pana, that could be a potential pick-off. And they have to do it very carefully. But you know what? Happy Feet Emperors, they know their objectives here and they're opting to get this turtle uncontested.
Hinahabol nila dito yung Angela dun sa may gitna. And Kurtz dito, getting a hit. Pero Heart Guard nandun pa rin, Pachi. Ang hirap. Seiya, ang hirap patayin. Sanay na sanay akong tawagin kang Pachi. I'm so sorry about this.
Okay lang yan.
Ang hirap i-take down ng Alice. Ang hirap i-take down ng mga side laners ng Happy Feet Emperors dito just because of the Heart Guard.
Yes. And of course, once again, how they position themselves right here. As mentioned earlier, if they have already fortified their side lanes, madali na lang sa kanila kasi to take resources Kasi they're negating away the potential economy ng ating Smart Omega dito. If one by one, slowly but surely, taking a pick off. And I think this is another potential one here. Si Reggie dito, tamang nagdidistract lang. And of course, we are seeing that Chi-Chi is gonna go for that kill. And this is looking good para sa ating Happy Feet Emperors because they're, as you mentioned, they're taking it slow. Now, if this goes well for Happy Feet Emperors, pwede na nilang kunin ito kahit hindi umabot ng late game.
And alam mo, yun nga din yung napapansin ko dito. As long as maganda yung start ni Sho, hindi siya mamatay basta-basta dito and you can get those orbs para mag-stack up siya agad to 25, probably to 50 as early as possible. Mas magiging maganda to for the side of Happy Feet Emperors kasi tatandaan natin, Clock of Destiny might be a slow item but with, sabihin na lang natin, with the stacks dito for the Alice, mas magiging tolerable yung pag-pace ng Clock of Destiny. And kakasabi ko lang, kinuha niya na yung Clock of Destiny yan.
And of course, still, no, kahit sabihin natin in the first minutes ng ating game, first 4 minutes, nasa upper hand, or in terms of momentum, nandun naman nasa Happy Feet Emperors. So you have to take note. You mentioned, if the Cupra right here was able to escalate during the middle phase of the game, pwede pa nilang mabawi ito. But look at this, Lancelot was able to take down the Khalid right here na pumasok na maaga. But of course, Angela will be taking a trade. And I think this calls for a disengagement because they can't really commit too much because if ever that they did, you have to take note, malapit na yung Torre. So pwede na nilang takuhan yun and go for a full disengage. But they are going to transfer themselves here into the turtle area going for some objectives instead. This is a good call for Smart Omega. So they will be getting the turtle here. But in exchange, they will be taking the Uranus as this happens.
Fleeting time for Japes. Mabilis to. And that is going to be a big problem for the side of Smart Omega. I mean, masyado nang alerto si Japes dito sa paggamit ng kanyang Heart Guard. Tapos dadagdagan mo pa ng fleeting time. Kumbaga, maximum uptime na to probably for him. Now, alam mo, nakikita ko pa dito, yes, nakuha nga. Tama ka dun nakuha man ng Smart Omega dito yung turtle. Pero nakasagot ng isang kill yung Happy Feet Emperors. Now, Smart Omega, they're doing a great job. Ang ganda ng pacing na pinapakita nila dito, ginagamit talaga nila si Haji to his full capabilities. Pero you cannot afford to, lose the trade or make a 1-1 trade na sobrang dami yung tao piniset up. And show dito, sa Heart Guard man siya, it won't be enough. Toshi?
Will be getting the magnesis right here, and of course, tamang prito si Toshi dito in hopes of getting the Angela, will be getting a double kill right here, but he is going to be traded down by the Eastern Shin with that response. And this is going to force Pretty Easy and company to go and back away. But with all that fiasco sa ating top side, nakapag-push na naman sila dito sa ating middle. And I like it. This is very interesting though, Butters. You know why? Kasi nabanggit natin na medyo 45 na yung side lanes ng ating Happy Feet Empress. Now, this forces the Selena and the Bruno to actually go for a two-man kill dun sa taas. Na-force sila. And it did well for Smart Omega, but this also proves that this can go and progress into the middle game para sa ating Happy Feet Empress kasi nakita nila na matibay sila in terms of the early game, makunat in terms of gameplay right here if ever it is a 1v1 situation. But again, looks like another team fight is going to happen here sa middle, but of course they will be deciding to this end.
Now, Hachi, nagkaroon na ng problema dito sa Happy Feet Emperors. Bakit sila nagkaroon ng problema? They gave out the mid lane turret, the bottom turret, and the top turret. All the outer first tier 1 turrets para dito sa side nila. Now the turtle is being taken.
Uy, of course, what a steal coming in from Lancelot right here. The Bruno will be getting a steal for himself. This is going to be a very messy fight right here as they are in a very close composition. And of course, the Uranus here, he is going to tank all of that damage but still gets a kill of his own. So this is what we call trying to equate the momentum na pinapakita kanina ng Happy Feet Empress because we're starting to see that the Lancelot is going online.
Haji, just going in. Ito yung kilala nating Haji. At ito yung Haji na talagang nagpapabilib sa akin time and again. Alam mo, yung Happy Feet Emperors dito, they did a great job controlling the pace. Alam nila yung gagawin nila. Alam nila yung winning conditions nila. But, the thing is, hindi nila napanghawakan yon and they had trouble holding on to that. Kung papansinin mo, yung bottom lane, yung middle lane, at yung top lane, nawala siya in a span of 1 minute lang.
Because they committed a bit too much onto the top side So kaya it kind of forces them to give up the middle and the bottom as you mentioned earlier. So nandahil nga doon, I think that is one of the steps for Smart Omega to go and actually escalate themselves in a more favorable manner dito about it. And again, just like this one, ngayon sila naman ang nagbibigay ng pressure dito sa ating top side, which is a good call for Smart Omega because they are abusing the mispositions na nangyayari or nagaganap dito against Happy Feet Emperor.
And kung papasinin mo dito, SMO, kapag binigay mo sa kanila yung ganyan klaseng lead, hindi ka na nila titigilan. Ginagawa nila dito, nagkasama-sama sila, Kenji dito, wala nga pinapansin masyado si Kenji. Ginagawa niya lang dito, nagiging, sabihin na lang natin, nagiging annoyance siya dito sa may gitna. He's trying to cut the lanes para kahit paano yung mabilis sila makapush kung makikita naman nila. Pero Yellow Haze dito, pumipwesto, tignan natin kung meron bang gagawin ng Happy Feet Emperors dito. Kasi yung Happy Feet Emperors ngayon, medyo talaga nagkakaroon na sila ng paghihirap kung paano i-deal with yung ginagawa dito ng Smart Omega. Napapansin mo, medyo magkasama-sama sila, biglang mag-scatter sila sa mapa, biglang magkasama-sama sila ulit. And that means you don't really have control over your map kapag ganun na yung ginagawa nyo.
Basically, I would like to connect two of your points here dito, no, Butters, because as you mentioned that the Uranus region si Kenji kanina, it's being a very hindrance sa ating bottom side. This forces now Happy Feet Emperors to disperse themselves para hindi nga naman makapag-push ng tuluyan dito si Kenji. But what is the cost? The cost is the middle lane dito na talagang binibigyan ng pressure ng Smart Omega dito. So it's kind of distracting Happy Feet Emperors into a more solidified plan dito, which is what Smart Omega intention is doing dito sa atin because they already took control most of the map area, taking the first lord of our game dito sa ating top. So this is a good opportunity now for them for a split push coming in lord dun sa top and them onto the middle side.
It is going to be a push on all sides of the map here for the side of SMO. Happy Feet Emperors, you need to make this count. Paano nyo pipigilan yung push na ginagawa dito? Tignan mo si Kenji na doon na sa loob.
Oo nga eh. Talagang tinatanggal yung minions. So which is okay because this is gonna work in hand for them later on. If ever they are not able to get any casualties dun sa main top side with all the fiasco, at least makakapunta yung minion doon sa ating bottom side. But you know what? I think the pushing is on Bonanza right here sa ating middle side. Again, Lancelot will be going for another kill right there, taking down Reggie right here. And again, the ultimate is gonna go through with Bruno is going for the finish. Hindi pa sila tapos right here. They will be taking down all of the turrets here with the bottom side remaining. Pero hindi pa sila pupasok. They're going in deep right here. And wala na silang pakialam mostly dun kung may minions o wala because they're just going for the nexus here and the stun all the way through. Aljon forces like your ultimate base. But you know what? Game number 1 goes to Smart Omega.
SMO just showing us na hindi sila magbi-break kahit ano pang gawin nyo sa early game, as long as hindi nyo sila kayang i-dissect, as long as hindi nyo sila kaya talagang bigyan ng isang sobrang laking problema, kaya nilang baliktarin yon. And yun yung pinakita nila dito na hindi sila masyadong nakatil sa pinakita ng HFE. Now, HFE did a great job, Seiya. HFE really did a great job on to, knowing yung winning conditions, kung paano nila i-set up yon. Pero it wasn't enough. Yung experience ng SMO dito, kung paano nila sineparate yung sarili nila at kung paano nila hinanap yung tamang points to actually get the game back onto their hands. Ano na yun? Bagay na experience na yun. Experience na nagdadala sa'yo ng ganun eh.
Totoo. And of course, we've seen that Smart America is really known for sometimes kung hindi man maganda ang start nila into game number 1 or it's not really going against their momentum, they have this ability